So I'm prepared to take my clothes off and sing. But I won't. We're supposed to talk about Shakespeare. I have taught at 4 higher institutions, 4 universities. 2 of them were Christian universities. And it always sort of cracked me up that they would say things like, the administration would say things like, you know, we don't, well, I taught at one that was particularly conservative, the other one wasn't, but they would say, you know, we try to keep a real close eye on what kind of theater we do here. You can do Shakespeare. And I always wanted to say, okay. Sure. But if it's okay with you, it's probably not Shakespeare. I got my first taste of Shakespeare in college. I went to Vanderbilt University, and I was intimidated by Shakespeare, as many young actors are. And I took my first Shakespeare scene study, and he assigned me the balcony scene. So the first Shakespeare words that I ever spoke were Juliet's balcony scene. And I can't say that I even had a full grasp of everything that I was saying or what was happening. But I do know that as soon as I was in front of that audience saying those words, I was absolutely, completely, overwhelmingly in love. And I never got over it. About 6 or 7 years ago, I teach at DePauw University, and I teach acting mostly. But I've been in love with Shakespeare for a long time, and so I also teach some Shakespeare courses. But about 7 years ago, a group called Actors from the London Stage, some of you may have heard of them, they come every other year to DePauw, and they travel all over the country and do a tour of American universities. And it's 5 actors chosen from just professional actors who work in London. And I went, I probably required my class to go see them, and I went expecting to see maybe some good acting. And I was interested to see how 5 people were going to put on Taming of the Shrew. And I now know that that's what they do. They travel with 5 people and almost no set. And they produce full-length Shakespeare plays with just the 5 of them. And what I saw took my breath away and changed my life. Because as an actor, I was really interested in what they were doing as actors. As a director, I was very interested to see how this could be minimalized and stripped down. What I wasn't prepared for was how powerful this language is. And since then, I've done an enormous amount of study. I've sort of studied Shakespeare in an academic way for several years. I was an English major and a theater major at Vanderbilt, so I had both sides of it. But I didn't really realize at the time that when Shakespeare was putting his plays on the Globe and the other Blackfriars and the other Elizabethan playhouses, the language did all of the work. They were performed during the day, they were outside, there weren't electric lights, there weren't set changes, there might be a table or a chair or a throne or something like that. And I've since, many of you maybe have been to Shakespeare's Globe in London, and I mean, we have these terms now like bare barred productions and that sort of thing. That's sort of what it was. I mean, costumes were expensive, they kind of wore their own clothes, they might put a Roman tunic over an Elizabethan, doublet. They weren't terribly concerned with realism. When the way you change the set and you could change countries, you could change time zones, you could change time of day, you could change mood, just with language, and that's what Shakespeare did, and the other Elizabethan playwrights. And so if he said, "Now we're in the Forest of Arden," then you were in the Forest of Arden, and they didn't have cool gobos on the lighting. basements that, you know, told you you were in the forest. And I had this huge epiphany when I was watching the actors from the London stage. These 5 people play every role in Taming of the Shrew, and sometimes you were very aware that there were 5 people playing all of these roles, and other times you were just so immersed in the story and the passion and the love and the situation that you forgot that there were 5 people doing all of this. And this light bulb went off for me, and I kind of came up with this term. I don't know. Every term that has to do with Shakespeare has already been come up with at some point, but I'm claiming this one. And I call it found Shakespeare. And I said, let's just trust the language and trust the actors and put on a play. So I went to my designers and to my superiors at DePauw, and I said, I want to do 12 nights. And I want to do it with 12 boxes and 12 actors. And I want to dress everyone in white, and I want it to be in the round, and I don't want the actors to ever leave the stage. And I want, this whole picture came to me, the whole picture. And I said, I want all the props and all the costume changes and the character changes to come out of these boxes. So whatever there is comes out of these boxes, and the boxes become everything. They can be the ship at the beginning for the shipwreck, and they can be Malvolio's prison. We can put sticks in them and make prison bars. And so that's what we did. We did it, and whenever we hit a wall, and we did, because we were exploring it together, we just said, let's just keep going back to the language. The language will show us how to do it. And it went so well that I came to Pauline last year and said, I want to do this at IndyFringe. And so we did it. And so we've started this thing called Indie Shakes at IndyFringe. And the idea is that it may not all be always in the round, all dressed in white, 12 actors playing all the roles. But the idea is that that Shakespeare does 80% of the work for us. And so if we cast intelligent people who are really brave, the work is not just done for us, it's magic. And it's trustworthy, and it's life-changing, and it's poignant, and it's profound, and it's hilarious. And so that's what we've started, and we're moving towards Antony and Cleopatra next year, because I'm clearly a glutton for insanity, and we're just going to trust the language. I'm trying to decide if there's any other story that I want to tell you about that, because I think the assignment was I'm trying to wrap my mind around the assignment, that we share an event that sort of spellbinds for us. In lieu of that, I could just take my clothes off. So yeah, I think that's not the end of that story. That's the beginning of the story. So some of you were here for that in January, and IndyFringe is such a friendly and conducive environment for growing something new and pure, and so I think I found my home to try that sort of thing. I think that's the end of that story for now.